Recording is on.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to LisaBug Yoga for All on a crisp and chilly morning here in Minneapolis. And we have today, focusing on our theme this month of finding the breath, we are going to begin our practice this morning with a pranayama or a breath technique called breath of joy. And that's going to get us really warmed up, get our blood flowing this morning, clear out the cobwebs in our head. And there's many benefits from doing breath of joy. It's going to spark our cardiovascular system. So get the heart rate up, blood flowing, get energy to our whole body. It's a wonderful practice to do if you're feeling a little lethargic, you need some motivation to get some things done, to get moving, or if you feel a little bit depressed, a little bit sad and down, maybe full of some grieving, those kind of things that might be going on in our emotional well-being as well. I also had requests for shoulders and neck today. So we're going to be doing a fair amount of work with our yoga strap. So if you don't have a traditional yoga strap, go quick grab a necktie or a winter scarf, a hand towel, but something that's pretty long because we're going to be using the length of our yoga strap to work the shoulders today in a few of our poses. So we're going to start standing for our breath of joy, and I'm going to teach it to you very slowly so that you understand the process, and then we'll move through it quicker. Also, to let you know, breath of joy is not appropriate if you have untreated blood pressure, high blood pressure. We all have blood pressure. If you have untreated high blood pressure, or if you have glaucoma or have had a recent eye injury or eye surgery. If you have lower back issues, I'm going to show you a little bit of a modification to do that as well. But the breath of joy is we take a three-part inhalation. So it's 3 sniffs of air through the nose. Inhale, inhale, inhale through the nose. It's all one inhalation, so it's not inhale, exhale. So, and then open our mouth and say, ha, and the exhalation is through an open mouth. So again, 3 inhalations through the nose, ha, exhaling through the mouth. Now there are arm movements that accompany these breaths. So if I have my palms facing forward in a traditional mountain pose, and your feet can also be hips distance apart, on the first third of the breath, the arms sweep forward. On the second inhale, the arms sweep out just a little bit lower than your shoulder level. On the third inhale, the arms sweep up, palms face each other. And then on that exhalation, the arms go back behind you like you're doing airplane wings, and the body bends forward from the waist, and then you rise back up to begin again. So if you have back issues, on this ha, you're not going to come all the way forward. That might cause a little bit of strain in your lower back. So if you have back issues, on the exhalation, you're here in chair pose and you're staying upright. Arms will sweep behind, forceful exhalation through the mouth. So I'll demonstrate it again nice and slow. Exhale completely. Inhale, 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 exhale, inhale, Now let's take a break. So typically we do these starting slow, and then if you feel comfortable picking up the pace, they increase in speed. You will maybe feel a little bit lightheaded, which is okay as long as you don't feel dizzy, but I want you to feel more lighthearted than lightheaded. So this does give you a little bit of that feeling of a little bit of dizziness, but a little bit is okay. Just keep it, on the low side. I'm getting a spam risk to my phone here. So let's start slow. Soften through your knees. Bring your shoulder blades back. Turn your palms forward, and we'll begin. Ha. 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 8 more. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. Last one. And rise up. Let your arms dangle by your sides. Just come to mountain pose. Check in and see how you're feeling. Now you might be able to close your eyes if you're not too lightheaded, too dizzy. And I just want you to notice all of the systems, how they changed in your body. The heart rate should be elevated. Your normal breathing rate will be elevated. You might feel some tingling in your fingers from exhaling that blood flow down into the capillaries. So just take some nice deep breaths. Inhale and exhale, either in through the nose, out through the mouth, or inhaling nose, exhaling nose. So again, this breath of joy is a wonderful pick-me-up if you're feeling a little bit tired, a little bit lethargic. Be careful as you do it. Be aware if you have back issues to do your exhalation here. Be aware if you're feeling a little bit too dizzy. Maybe about 1 minute's time with this breath pattern is long enough to get the benefits. It doesn't have to be a long, 3 minutes of doing this breath. The exhalation is a mild release of toxins. So as we exhale forcefully, we're bringing out some of the CO2 and byproducts of our metabolism and our breathing, and exhaling that from our body. So it's just a really beneficial practice. So that is your breath of joy. Let's pick up our yoga strap. And that breath of joy is also nice to just start to warm up our shoulders. So your shoulders should be feeling warm and open and loose, but we're going to stretch them just a little bit more. So taking your yoga strap, I'm going to fold mine in half. You're a little bit wider than your shoulders width apart. We'll just take a nice big inhale up, stretching. Exhale, a side bend, and you're pulling just gently on your yoga strap to open up the opposite lat muscle. Inhale back up, then exhale into chair pose and bring your arms about level with your shoulders. Maybe a little bit lower is good as well. Let's breathe in, stretch up. To the other side, exhale, a little pull on that strap. Breathe in and breathe out into chair. Now notice if your shoulders are shrugging up. We want to drop those down. And breathe in and breathe out. Inhale, exhale. Last week we did the equal ratio breath, where we have an even length of time between the inhalation and the exhalation. So that's a nice one to use here. Let's do one more on each side. Inhale, exhale, equal duration. Inhale, exhale, warming up those legs as well. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Just rise up. Hands are about shoulders width apart. We'll just rotate to the right side. Look over your shoulder. Keep some constant tension on your yoga strap. Come back to center and rotate the opposite direction. So it's best to do our exhalation when we're twisting. So inhale as you prepare. Exhale to come into your rotation, nice long spine. Inhale back to center. And exhale. Now for the most part, I want you to keep your pelvis facing straight ahead so your knees aren't shifting to the right or left as you're turning. This keeps the rotation into the spine and out of your lower body, out of your hips, out of your knees, out of your feet. And one more to that left side. Back center. And relax the arms for a moment. A couple of shoulder rolls. And you can roll your shoulders both directions, but for me, I always like to rotate them back because we do enough of this. So a backward shoulder roll is going to open up through the chest as you're finishing that circle. Okay, let's take your yoga strap wider, and I want you to go really wide to start as we do a half circle, lifting the arms up, bring them all the way around behind you. I like to start wide because I don't want you to strain anything in your shoulders at all. If you've got your strap as long as it will go and you don't have the flexibility to get all the way back behind you, then don't use your strap and just do this half circle, starting forward and opening at whatever range you can go, coming all the way back, and then reversing that range of motion. And let's inhale as we're coming up and back, and we have that chest expansion. And exhale as the strap returns to the front. And 2 more repetitions. Breathe in. And breathe out. 1 more. And a nice full exhalation. Back to center. Relax. A couple of shoulder rolls. Just check in and see how you're feeling. All this should be gentle, so we're not straining the muscles of our shoulders. The shoulder is probably the most vulnerable joint in our body that we have, so it's very easy to injure and very hard to repair. Okay, cow face arms. Take your yoga strap in your right hand, reach it up, let it drop behind your back like a little tail there. And then with your left hand, let's just give that arm a stretch through the lat. See whatever your range of motion is, and then anchor that arm there. And we'll take the left hand, turn your thumb down, reach behind you for your yoga strap. Now, you might be quite a distance apart. I'm not that flexible in my shoulders, but that's okay. Some of you might be pretty flexible and you might not even need your strap. You might be able to bind your fingers together. And if that's you, fantastic, wonderful. So we're just going to hold our cow face, and as we hold and breathe, maybe walk your fingertips a little bit closer. Find the range of motion that feels good for you, and then take a side bend over to your left. And this is going to really open up that lat muscle. Now I have my feet tight together in classical style, but you can separate your feet any width apart to make you feel comfortable here, especially as we're tipping side, and you might feel a little bit of balance issue here. Now, if you feel comfortable, start to turn your head and look up towards that right elbow and slightly roll your shoulder back. So you're slightly twisting, not very much, just a little bit. And breathe into the side rib cage. Keep the abdominals braced. 1 more breath. And as you exhale that breath, come back up to neutral. The bottom arm releases first, so just let that relax and then release the top arm down. For a moment, I just want you to check in. It's really nice not to rush into the other side right away when we're doing poses like this. I just want you to notice how you feel, where you feel the stretch. Check in again to make sure you're not feeling any pain in your body. And these sensations you're feeling will very quickly dissipate. You'll feel like, well, I don't really feel too much anymore. And that's when we go to the other side. So let's take your left arm, reach it up, let the strap dangle behind you. And then with the right hand, give that elbow a little stretch up. And then it's really important that before you reach behind you, you turn your palm back. So this is going to inwardly rotate that shoulder, and then you can more easily reach without straining the front of your shoulder. Inch your hands together. Now there's a tendency here to drop our head because our arm is up, especially if you can't get your elbow all the way to the ceiling. If you're here, that's okay. Just don't drop your head along with it. Keep pressing your head back into your wrist or into your forearm. Keep walking those fingers a little closer. And then we'll add our side stretch. Really deeply stretching through the lat. A muscle that can be very tight, attaches there onto the arm bone. And then if you feel comfortable, rotate your head, take that gaze up towards the ceiling and a little bit of a twist. So you're rotating the left shoulder back to the wall behind you. And try not to hold the breath. Keep breathing, breathing. And if anything feels painful, you come out of it right away, or reduce the intensity of that stretch. And we'll take one more breath here. As you exhale, come back up. The bottom arm relaxes first, very gently, and then the top arm relaxes. Come back to a mountain pose. Perhaps close your eyes, check in. Notice how you're feeling from the right side to the left, from the front of your body to the back, from the top to the bottom. So we find a balanced tension in our body. Samastitihi. Okay, I'd like to perform this pose one more time on each side in Warrior One. So step your left foot forward. Your right foot back with a little bit of a turnout. Your hips are nice and squared. You'll pass that strap again into your right hand. The first side we stretched. Bring it up. We can get here a little bit quicker this time. We pull. We inwardly rotate the shoulder, reach back, and inch those fingertips up. Now I have a bend in the front knee. Back leg is pretty straight. Nice squared hips, and then we can add our side bend. Now in a traditional Warrior One, and you might be able to see it on the screen, there's a straight line between the inside of the front leg and the heel of the back leg. But if you feel like you're really struggling with balance, then you're going to step this front foot out a little wider. So now you can see the space between my front foot and back foot from side to side, and that's going to create a more stable situation for you to hold here in balance. Now we can turn the head up, pull that shoulder back a little bit. Feel your core really working here. This can be a pretty good core strengthener, back strengthener. One more breath. And then exhale to come up. Now we'll bring this into pyramid. So I want you to straighten out your front leg. Keep your body squared. You're going to start to hinge from the hips forward. Now if this is feeling too stressful on your shoulders, go ahead and let your bottom arm release and bring your hand maybe to your shin. The top arm can release as well if you've had enough there in that shoulder stretch, and just work on your pyramid pose, which will lengthen the hamstring. You can also bring your hands to your hips for a nice shoulder opener here. Make sure the back isn't rounding. And that's really the nice thing about doing this pyramid pose in our half cow face is it helps us to keep our back straight. So let's take one more breath. Get back into my yoga strap here. And then soften that front knee just a little bit, push into the ground, exhale, and come back up. And then we'll release that bottom arm, release the top, and step your feet back together on your mat. Take a second, check in, maybe a couple of shoulder rolls. Just notice how the body's feeling, not a rush to get to the other side. Then our right foot will step forward, left foot steps back, and I don't have a really long stride between my feet. It's not a really big step on Warrior One because I want to be able to get my hips to square. If you have trouble balancing, your feet are going to widen a little bit from side to side so you have a better base of support. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. Okay, left hand holds the strap, reach it up, dangle it back. Give yourself a little pre-stretch. Inwardly rotate the hand, reach back to the belt, walk your fingertips together. Keep that head in neutral. When you have your balance and stability, second option is to add your side bend. And make that slow so you're not going over too quickly, losing your balance. The head can turn upward. The top shoulder slightly rolls back. And as you're holding this, I want you to notice the hip flexor stretch on the back leg hip and tighten the leg bone or the leg muscle, hugging the bone, that quadricep muscle on the left leg, the glute. So you really feel a nice solid connection here. And we're breathing into the left side rib cage. One more inhalation. Let your exhale bring your body back to neutral. We straighten out the front leg for pyramid pose. So if you feel okay keeping your strap there in cow face, keep it right in place and very slowly begin to hinge from the hips. Now it's really hard to round our backs when we have the strap behind us. It almost creates an anchor for us. So I really do like to do pyramid in cow face. But if you're struggling and feeling any pain, release that strap. Bring your hands maybe to your hips or to your shin or to your block or all the way down to the ground if you like that. And you want to focus more on stretching the hamstring. Notice what you're feeling in the back of that right leg. There's a little tiny micro bend in that knee. And we'll take one more breath here. And then as you exhale, bend the right knee a little more and push into your foot to come back up. Bottom arm releases. Ooh. Top arm releases. We step the feet back into mountain. Maybe closing your eyes or just checking in to see how you're feeling. Fantastic, everyone. Shoulders should feel nice and open. Hopefully no pain at all here. So we're going to use our yoga strap to come into chest expansion. So if you bring it behind your back, again, you can fold it in half if you'd like. Find a distance where you can lift your arms back behind your body and then lower down. Now, if your shoulders are pretty tight, it might look more like this, but I want you to lift. So this is activating the back of your shoulders and your upper back muscles so the front of your shoulders can stretch. Now, adding the legs with this, as our arms lift up, we sit into a baby chair. And then as the arms lower, we straighten our legs back up. And if you'd like, lift your heart up into just a tiny, gentle back bend. And then sit into chair, the arms rise. Stretch the fronts of the shoulders. Rise up. Heart lifts. And you can put the breath wherever you want here, and it just really depends on how slow you're going. I like to inhale when my heart is expanded. So I'm going to inhale on my back bend. Exhale to come up. Inhale to open my arms back into chair. And exhale to come up. Now, if the back bend isn't feeling okay for you, then you just come to a neutral spine in your mountain pose. And let's do one more, sinking into chair, arms lift, and optional back extension. Now come to your chair, and your choice is to hold here if you want to stay upright. We can also bring this into a forward bend. So if you want to come in a forward bend, bend your knees a little more, let your chest come down towards your thighs until your head drapes down towards the floor and the arms lift higher. Now you can also straighten your legs from here any amount. Now if you're like, well, I know if my arms were wider, I could get them up a little higher, then lengthen your position on your yoga belt, make your hands wider, and then let your arms lift a little more. If you're flexible enough, you can get your arms beyond neutral, so they're going over your head, and you're letting gravity help to pull your arms further towards the back of your head. Be really careful with this. As my mom said, not too rambunctious. So no rambunctiousness, just mindfulness, really safe and careful here with our shoulders. And you've got a little pull outward on the strap, so you're keeping it taut. It's not loose. And we'll stay here one more breath. And if you're in your forward bend, we'll slowly come out the way we entered. So you'll start to bend your knees again. Begin to lift the chest off your thighs so you're back into your chair pose. And then press through your feet and rise up. Release the arms by your side and come back to mountain pose. Whew. Okay. That's good for our shoulders for a bit, but we're going to come back to them in a little bit. Let's place your strap off to the side. Come to the top of your mat in your mountain pose here. Whenever we do mountain, we rotate our palms either forward or slightly out. So this will open the shoulders, keep them nice and open. We'll take a big inhale, reach the arms out and up. Exhale, swan dive into forward bend. Hands find the shins. Inhale, halfway lift. Nice long spine. Exhale, fold. Place your hands down onto the mat and step back to hands and knees. So we're just going to hold a thread the needle today, which is a really good shoulder opener the other direction. So we've been stretching our shoulder behind us. So now we're going to stretch it across the front. So take an inhale and reach the right arm up. Stretch, stretch. And then exhale, reach it through in front of you, and then just lay your shoulder down on the ground. Turn your head to the left so your right ear is down towards the floor. We're just going to hold this and breathe. Now, what to do with the left arm? A couple of things we can do. We can reach it way up towards the top of our mat. This is another shoulder opener, which feels really nice. You can inwardly rotate it and bring it behind your back like we have it in cow face, or feed your fingertips into the right hip crease. Or you can just set your hand right on top of your sacrum. It should be nice and level. Now this is a great stretch for our neck too, so I want to be sure this feels okay for you. Your head is rotated and it is flexed to the side. It's pretty subtle, but we do have our cervical spine in lateral flexion with rotation. So be sure this feels okay for you today. Now we're in just a little subtle twist here, so we feel the benefits of that rotation. But we're going to take the twist out of this pose and the neck rotation and just have our shoulder stretch in place. So bring your left hand back down like you're reaching out into child's pose. Pick your head up and turn your forehead to the floor so you have your head straight on. And then bring your hips to straight on. So you're basically in child's pose or puppy pose with one arm folded underneath your body. Stretching through the outside of your shoulder on that right side. Now, if your head isn't comfortable here, you can take your left hand, make a little pillow, set your head right down on the back of your hand. This might give you more space to breathe and it'll lift you up out of the pose a little bit. You can also use your yoga block. Let's take one more breath here and really expand through the ribs and the shoulder blades as you breathe in. And exhale, bring the left hand back underneath the left shoulder to press yourself up and just open out one time, reach, and set your hand back down. Just stay here in all fours for a moment. You can also come into cat stretch for a moment or sit back into child's pose for a moment. And this is just to check in and notice how you're feeling from one side to the other. You can rotate your head a couple times, flex and lift, just release any tension, and we'll move into the other side. So the left arm lifts and stretches up. Exhale, thread the needle through, lay your head down, left ear is towards the mat. Make sure this is feeling okay before you go anywhere else. And then you can decide if you want this right arm reaching up, if you prefer it wrapped behind your low back, or maybe place it right here on your sacrum. And then just notice if you're tensing your body anywhere, because really, ideally, this is pretty restorative. So you should be able to completely relax into this pose and melt into the earth. For most of us, it's a gentle shoulder stretch, but if it's too much for you, then you can come up out of that pose. Breathing into the twist. Notice your neck on this side as you're rotating your chin towards your right shoulder and you're slightly flexing the side of your neck. Make sure that feels okay. Relax your jaw. Now we'll slightly adjust this to take out the twist and the head rotation. So slightly bring your right arm down so you can use it to help you turn your head back to center. So your forehead's going to go straight to the floor. And then take your twist out so your shoulders are level to the floor. You've just got that left arm underneath your body. Right arm can reach out to the top of your mat or just relax it. And relax the fingers on your left hand. Your palm is up. And just let your fingers curl a little bit or slightly wiggle them to make sure you're not making a fist or tensing anywhere into that left hand. And remember, you can make a little pillow for your forehead to bring your face a little bit further up off the mat. And we're just here one more breath. And press that right palm back into the floor to push yourself up with your tricep and shoulder. And as you do, slide the arm out, open up, and come back to all fours or cat stretch or child's pose, and just check in, see how you're feeling. Now, either pressing back to child's pose or tuck the toes, lift the hips, and come into a down dog, whichever your body's needing today. Absolutely fine. Broaden through those shoulder blades. If you're up and down dog, let your heels sink down into the mat. Find some range of motion behind the backs of the legs. And this is a wonderful shoulder opener for the lats. If you're in child's pose, you're reaching the arms up nice and long to the top of your mat. In down dog, really dropping your chest towards your thighs to find that beautiful shoulder opener. There's not a lot of weight on your hands. You're pushing away from the palms. 2 more breaths. One more breath. And then we'll lower the knees back to the mat. Let's come all the way onto our bellies. So walk the knees behind you. Come all the way down. And then open your arms out to the body like a T shape. So the arms aren't directly out from the shoulders, but the hands are slightly below. Looks more like an airplane wing. Now look to your right. Place your right hand underneath your shoulder, and I want you to use your arm of that right hand to start to push you over onto your left side. And this is going to stretch your left shoulder. So I'm going to do it once this way so you can see what this side of my body looks like. And then I'm going to quickly do it to the other side. I don't want you to switch, but I want you to see what my hand looks like behind me. So you can use the muscles of your neck to keep your head up off the floor. So this is strengthening this side of the neck here. And then lift your legs up. So I want you to use the side waist and your legs to be nice and lifted. Now you can keep this right hand on the mat so you can hold yourself in place. If this is too much of a stretch, then you just roll back over to your belly. If you feel like you can let go and balance, this right arm lifts and you pull it back behind you and turn your head, look up towards the ceiling. This is a beautiful swan dive pose. Now this shoulder stretch can also be done standing with your arm up against a wall and then just turning away from the wall. We'll take 2 more breaths. If it's too much, come down right away. 1 more breath. And then let this right arm guide your body back to the mat. Just bring both hands underneath your forehead and rest for a moment and check in. Now, if your body said to you, this is really a no-go, then I want you to stand up and walk over to a wall and perform it standing. It's the same thing. You would just have a lot more control over the pose. All right, let's try the other side. So open those arms out like an airplane wing. Make sure your shoulders are grounded into the floor. Bend your left elbow to push into your palm and then press yourself onto your side. Go slow so you can decide how far feels okay for you. Then the head stays lifted, so we're strengthening the side of our neck to keep our head up. The legs lift. You can slightly pull your heels back so it looks like you're doing a little bit of a back bend, a swan dive. And then if you would like, the arm goes up and the head turns to look up towards that hand. Really be mindful of that right shoulder because it's taking a lot of our body weight. If that's not okay, use your left hand and roll yourself slightly forward again. Because you can use whatever you want to roll side to side to get the stretch that feels right for you. Let's hold 2 more breaths. Legs are nice and active. They're lifted up off the mat. 1 more breath. And then this left hand comes down. Use it to guide you back onto your belly. Make a pillow for your forehead with your hands and check in. Now I'm going to do a little bit of back strengthening right while we're here. So I want your forehead to stay on your hands. This is going to keep your head in neutral. And then lift your upper back up so your elbows come a couple of inches up off the mat, but you still have your hands attached to your forehead. So in other words, it's not going to look like this where my head comes up. I'm going to keep that forehead down and just lift up with the upper back. The arms come along for the ride. Then lower back down. And lift. And lower. Now you can decide if you like to exhale when you lift up or to inhale, but just make sure you're breathing. Maybe try a couple of both and see what feels best for you. It's hard to breathe in when you're on your belly. So I want you to put that breath into the back of your ribs and down. 1 more time, lift and down. Now you're just going to lift the right elbow up and look that way. So you're rotating underneath that arm and then set it down. Lift your left elbow up. Your head is staying on the back of your hands. And come down. We'll do 3 more to each side. Up and down. Now you don't have to come up very high for the muscles to activate. So not a forceful posterior twist, whatever you can do today. 2 more each side. Check in that you're breathing. 1 more to the right and to the left. And then just relax here. And let the breath calm. And then our back needs a little bit of a counter pose. So we'll slide the palms of the hands underneath the shoulders, press yourself up, bring your knees close together. We'll come into a traditional child's pose. So you're going to sit back, bring your forehead down, and your arms will come back so that your hands are by your feet. And just let your shoulders relax and roll forward. Now, if this is uncomfortable on your knees, you can set your hips on a block, or just keep your hips up a little bit higher, and forehead can come down to the floor or to a block as well. And we're curving our spine so that we've got a counter position from our spinal extension, our back work. We'll take 1 more breath in and exhale completely. Then walk your hands back underneath you, pressing yourself up. Come back into a downward facing dog, tuck the toes, lift the hips, and we're up. So if you're not feeling like a down dog today, you're in child's pose, and that is quite all right. So if you're in down dog, I want you to widen your feet wider so they're about to the sides of your mat from side to side. And take your right hand up off the floor and reach it across to your left ankle or shin, or if you can't reach it, just send it in that direction and look underneath your armpit. The nice part about being able to reach the ankle is you can very carefully give yourself a little pull and twist. If you're in child's pose, tuck your right shoulder underneath your body again, as we did previously in class, and give yourself that shoulder stretch. We'll take one more breath. And exhale, the right hand comes back to the mat. Fingers are spread nicely, thumb is slightly tucked in. Reach across, left hand, and rotate. Now your pelvis should remain pretty level through that twist. You might not be able to get your feet flat, your heels might be up, that's okay, whatever your range is. One more breath. And reach back out. Walk your feet back towards one another. And then we'll open the knees wide into a wide knee child's pose. Set your hips back towards your heels. Let your belly drop through the center. Forehead comes down. We're going to reach our arms way out towards the top of our mat and make a prayer position with your hands. So the palms are going to come together and touch. Bend your elbows to bring your thumbs behind the back of your neck and inch your elbows forward as far as you can reach them. And feel a nice tricep stretch here in the upper arm. It's that stretch we find in our cow face position. Just a couple more breaths. The belly sinks down. The hips are stretching and releasing. And then we'll straighten our arms back out. Slide the palms underneath the shoulders. And press yourself up. So we are going to come into reverse Shavasana. And this is a really nice neck stretch. You might need a little pillow or a towel, something soft to place your face on. So we are going to come down onto our belly. If this position ends up not being comfortable for you, you can come onto your back and do a head rotation on your back as well. So this is the complete reverse of Shavasana when we're laying on our belly. So when we're laying on our back in Shavasana, we have our toes turned out. So I want you to turn your toes in. So rotate your legs towards one another, your feet facing towards one another. And then in regular Shavasana on our back, our palms are facing the front of our body. Now you're going to turn your palms to face the back of your body. So the back of your hands are on the floor, palms are facing the ceiling, and then turn your head to the left so your right cheek is down onto the mat, and let your shoulders relax. So this is a passive neck stretch. And if you've got tightness in your neck, this is a wonderful posture to do for maybe 5 minutes on each side every day. We don't have the time for that today, but I want to show you how to do some of these for yourself, for your own yoga practice later on at home. So I just want you to notice how you're feeling. Where is the stretch in your neck? Is it appropriate for today? Is it too much? Do you need to change it? And you can also alter where your chin is. So you can drop your chin a little closer towards your shoulder, or you can move your chin a little further away. Now I like to put a cushion underneath the side of my head when I'm doing this so that my jaw is not on the mat. So I'm very easily talking because I'm not pushing my jaw into the floor.
because that sometimes causes us to clench our teeth or for our jaw to come out of alignment. So I don't want you to be in a crossbite position. So we're just here, one more breath. And then lift your head up only, bringing your head back to neutral. Then lift your upper back up and your legs up, and we'll come into Locust. So reach back with those fingertips, tighten through the muscles of your spine. Make sure you're not looking up with your chin. So I still want the back of your neck long. And you're just aligning your head back to cervical neutral. Let your legs come down. Let your arms and chest come down and turn your head now to the right side. So the left side of your head is on the mat. Relax your arms. Make sure your toes are still turned in. We're broadening through our sits bones and through our sacroiliac joints. And laying on your belly and breathing is sometimes hard. So try to send the breath into the back side of your ribs. And then just notice, what are you feeling in your neck on this side? Does it feel, first of all, safe? There's no pain, no strain? Then you can proceed. And if you need to make adjustments, please make those. So if you were doing this on your back, you'd just roll over and you'd let your head turn to the side. You just do that on your back. Relax your hands, relax your jaw, your eyelids, your eyebrows. So this is a good one to do. I know we've all had this happen where we've slept wrong and we wake up in the morning and we have a kink in our neck and it's really hard to turn our head one side or the other. This is a really good practice to do. And what's nice to do with this sometimes is to, if you have one of those little heating pads that you pop in the microwave, pop it in the microwave for 30 seconds or so and then just drape it onto your neck. Or a nice warm washcloth, something like that, to give yourself some heat. And that will help you to relax those muscles and soften and stretch. We'll take one more breath. And as you exhale, you pick the head up first so that your forehead's facing the floor. Pick your chest up. Pick your legs up and come into Locust. And just breathe. We're rolling our shoulders back. This is a nice one to use our yoga strap too, so you can always grab your strap and lift your arms up, or you can interlace your fingers behind your body. This is a really big shoulder stretch here. Let's take 2 more breaths. And then our legs come down first. Palms of the hands come under the shoulders. Press yourself up. A counter stretch would either be cat, tucking your chin, tucking your tailbone, or child's pose. And then come back to a seated position. Take hold of your yoga strap. We're going to do our cow face arms one more time. I know we've done them. We did them once at the beginning of class. We did them in our Warrior One. We're going to do it one more time. I think 3 is a charm sometimes. So with our cow face today, what I want you to do is take your left leg straight out. Your right leg can be here, the foot flexed towards the inner thigh, or we can come into a half cow face with our legs, which is to bring this knee across. If you like full cow face, I'm not going to demonstrate it to its fullness because I have torn meniscus and my knees don't like it, but you can tuck this knee underneath you and then sit flat on your sitting bones.
So some of you in class today might like to take that option. Okay, so we are going to be stretching the opposite elbow up from the knee that's on top. So take your strap in your left hand, bring it up and behind your back, give it a little pull, inwardly rotate, reach behind you, walk your fingertips up. Now you can stay upright or fold over that leg and hold 5 breaths. So we have a nice stretch in our left hamstring, unless you're in full cow face. We have a hip opener on the right side. We have our right shoulder, front of the shoulder stretching, and our left tricep and lat. Maybe a little bit in your low back as well. All right, let's breathe in, rising up. Bottom arm releases first. Top arm. Unfold the legs. And take a couple of breaths. Then we'll choose our pose on the other side with the legs. So this left leg can come here. Great choice. We can fold it over. The bottom leg can come under us. I can almost do it on this side, just not the other. All right, so you pick the one that you like the best. And now the strap goes in the right hand. Dangle it behind your back. Give that elbow a pull. Inwardly rotate, reach behind, walk those fingers together. Elongate your spine, inhale. Last option is to fold. 5 breaths. And just keeping your mind on your pose. Notice what you're feeling, where you're feeling the stretch. And make sure everything is perfect for you in this pose today. On that 5th exhalation, rise back up, unwrap the bottom arm first, the top arm, releasing your yoga strap, unfold the leg, check in a couple of breaths. And you can remain seated as you are or come to an easy cross-leg pose to close our practice today. We'll press our palms in an Anjali Mudra, eyes closed. Just checking in one more time, noticing how you're feeling as compared to the beginning of our practice today. We express our gratitude in this mindful mudra, the Anjali Mudra. We express our honor and our respect. And the light and love and joy that resides within me honors the light, love, and joy in each of you. Namaste, and thank you so much for joining me today. If anybody has an extra minute to log on with your cameras and mics, I'll take our Jitsi recording off and we can chat for a minute.